We are back out here at Sanford Dam, so water level is pretty high right now. It's been a little while since I was out there filming an update. The water level was 17.5 feet at the time of filming this. I actually have a graph at the end of the video showing kind of the cresting point and then where the water level was decreasing again. See the water flowing through the spillways. Everything's looking really good. Water has a lot of turbidity to it. We always have this in Michigan in our spring thaw melt from the snow, and snow has been melted for quite a while, but we have got a lot of rainfall recently, and that's what led to this increase in water level as well as water flow. So a lot of that sediment is just getting picked up in the water column, and it looks like that chocolate milk brown color. We'll come over here to the low level outlet. You can see the water flowing through there as quick as it can. I'm not sure exactly how they go ahead and clean off this grading, but with the debris flowing downriver, especially right now in the springtime, I can see this grate getting kind of plugged up a little bit. So I'm sure they have some sort of tool, some sort of way to clean off that grading and allow that low level outlet to still continue passing flows. If it does get plugged up, there's still the other spillways that water can flow over and through, so not really an issue. We'll come over here to the sheet pile that has been installed. So this is keeping the river from flowing through where it used to flow through in the breach where the earthen embankment failed. And you can see they dumped a lot of crushed limestone, installed that sheet pile down the middle of it, and then it looks like they added another dike here out of clay to stop the water that is seeping through that sheet pile from flowing down this area, just allowing them to be able to fill in where the earthen embankment used to be. And you can see all this riprap right here in the middle of the screen. I think that's where an old dike actually used to be. If I go back and look at my videos where one of the first ones was constructed, looks like they did ditch out a little bit of the center here so that the water flows down to a central location where they're pumping it over and out of the area. And then this is where that sheet pile was at, creating the window that the water would flow over and flow underneath the temporary bridge structure where the earthen embankment failed. So this is where they're filling in that earthen embankment. Again, you can see a lot of compacting happening. They're bringing in some clay to fill that in and trying to get it back to being a sort of bedrock, as hard as bedrock could be, when they're going to go ahead and reinforce that earthen embankment again. So it looks like both of these excavators are bucketing to each other, trying to clear out some of that clay that is a little bit, soupy, down to the clay bedrock. And they do have a dike here on this side as well with riprap along the river channel, and that is keeping the Tittabawassee River from flowing into that area so that they can go ahead and remediate that down to bedrock and then refill that back in with clay, compact it so that it is nice and hard. So this is the front side of the dam. You can see the water flowing through Sanford Dam here, and we'll come on nice and close up to the low level outlet. The spillways are, they're interesting, but that's just water flowing over them. The low level outlet does interest me because there's gates inside of here that allow the water flow to be kind of tuned. The gates can be opened or closed to allow that flow to go through here, and looks like it's flowing pretty much as fast as it could through there right now. You can actually see some daylight here and there passing through the opposite side of the dam. So yeah, that's pretty interesting looking at the low level outlet, and we'll come over here to the rest of the spillways, seeing water flowing over the top of those steps, and then looking up towards the north of the Tittabawassee River. You can see the floating barrels on the other side of the dam. It looked like a couple of those maybe had some holes in them earlier in the week that were replaced as they started to sink when they redirected the flow through the dam here. We'll keep increasing in altitude. We'll actually go all the way up to 400 feet. We'll see what things look like from up there. But first I do stop and I do take a couple pictures here and there. Those get posted on my Patreon channel. So if you want to go ahead, check that out. You can follow the link in the description down below. Huge thanks to my Patreon supporters. They allow me to keep getting out there and this content to be possible for everyone to see. So if you're interested in donating, that's a great way to do that, as well as you can check out my PayPal link in the description down below, or the coffee link if you want to send me some money for a drink or just for a tank of gas. So up here at 400 feet in altitude, you can see up to the north on the lake bed how much that Tittabawassee River is kind of cresting over the riverbanks into the lake bed. Here's a great shot of Sanford Park. All the baseball fields, they're greening up nicely. Temperatures have been pretty high here in Michigan. We've had them dip down a little bit here and there, back down to freezing. But we actually did have some 70-degree weather about 2 weeks ago now. Right now we're hovering about freezing at night and highs around 50. This is pretty typical weather for this time of year. But love seeing that park. We're going to be seeing a lot of baseball games out there very shortly again this year. I know there was a ton of people that enjoyed the park last year. Get another shot up to the north. And now the drone is facing back towards the south. We were up at 400 feet in altitude, and now we are dropping. We'll drop all the way down to about 20 feet in altitude, right over the top of the lake bed. And again, you can kind of see where the normal river would be flowing and how it's kind of crested over that normal path into the lake bed again. So where all that vegetation you see growing, normally that area is dry, but you can see they did form a dike on the right hand side of the screen too to keep that water from flowing over into their work area. And that kind of was some forward thinking here, because the water levels could increase quite a bit. I think we're probably nearing the end of the season here, where we can expect precipitation levels to get too high and water levels to get that high again. Some Canada goose over here on the right hand side, so they probably are making a nest and will be laying some eggs very shortly. We'll fly over here, we'll go over the top of the sheet pile again, and then we'll come check out the excavators. So again, this work area has been all pretty much dewatered. Looks like the main goal right now is to keep hauling in as much clay as possible and compacting it where that earthen embankment used to be, as well as where the breach and that new river channel used to be, where the excavators are at right now. So that seems like the main focus right now. Once these excavators go ahead and get all of this soupy clay out of this area, I'm sure they will be going ahead and refilling this area in with clay and compacting it, just like they're doing on the other side of the temporary bridge. I assume the temporary bridge will be removed shortly, probably after this breach area gets filled back in with clay. They could probably make a roadway in that area again, and that temporary bridge could probably be removed permanently. I don't see a need that it would need to be back in there again once this earthen embankment is restored. So again, a lot of just sitting here watching the excavators for a little while. Looks like the one on the right is just bucketing over this clay to the one that's a little bit higher up, and that excavator is going ahead and loading the off-road dump truck. Again, over there a little bit further at the top of the screen to the north though, you can see the compactor rolling back and forth, compacting that clay down as hard as possible. They have a bulldozer over there as well to level it a little bit more. Near the end of the video, you'll see a tandem truck pull up, bringing in some more of that clay, and they do use that bucket loader up near the top of the screen as well. Not sure what they're doing on the sheet pile in the background. You can see some people on a sky lift and a crane, a lift there. Not sure. It looks like those need to be pounded in to the bedrock a little bit further, and they probably will go ahead and do that once this area has been completely filled in with clay up to the elevation that is needed. So again, you can see the tandem truck entering the left hand side of the screen. That will go ahead back up there and we'll dump the back load, and then it will go ahead, unhook that trailer, and come back to dump the second load. So really amazing seeing these truck drivers back up these tandem loads. Definitely takes some skill to be able to do that. We'll take a real quick look here at the excavators again. And you can see kind of that, I just call it soupy clay. There's probably a technical term and definition for what that is, but it looks like this excavator just has a ditching bucket on, doesn't have the teeth on it. He's just trying to scrape that clay that's loose and some sediment off of the clay that we would consider bedrock down there, nice solid ground, and pass it over here to the left hand side where the other excavator can bucket it out of there into the off-road dump truck and haul it out of this site. So you can see that semi backing up that tandem truckload of clay, and the bulldozer here in the center of the screen shoving that clay up, banking it up a little bit higher. Then it gets spread over the area in nice even layers and compacted. I was here right before lunchtime, so I think a lot of the crew from Fisher Contracting was probably waiting to go take their lunch, or maybe were taking their lunch at this time as well, but it looks like there was still quite a bit of work ongoing here. So again, bringing that semi up, and we'll start dumping out that clay. I'm not sure where this clay is coming from, but it is coming from off-site. It would have been nice if they could have did the same thing like they did up on Edenville Dam and dug out the lake bed. We're able to use the clay that was on the lake bed to make that a little bit deeper. That would have been nice to make Sanford Lake a little bit deeper. These lakes aren't very deep, probably 20-30 feet at the most in the river channel. So would have been nice if that was a possibility, but I'm guessing that was not a possibility, as that would have definitely been the cheapest option versus hauling this in from offsite wherever they're getting it. So again, that load's been dumped. Bulldozer's going to come over here and shove that up the hill a little bit further. Looks like the bucket truck, bucket loader, is also going to come over here and shove some of that as well. I'll pop this graph up in the corner. You can see the water level. So again, when I was currently out there, I did a quick screenshot. It was 17.5 feet. So this is kind of, the top, the peak here. A couple days ago, it looks like we reached just over 16 feet. So this is the highest the water level has been this year for sure. And I actually went back to look at a year's worth of data. And even last year in our spring thaw melt, the water did not get this high. So a little bit higher than typical for the last few years. But again, nothing that we haven't seen before. This is just very common and typical for this time of year, for the riverbanks to crest over a little bit just because of those high flows. Great looking pad here where that earthen embankment used to be, kind of restoring that with this clay being super compacted down and forming an impermeable layer that when Sanford Lake is refilled, water should not be able to penetrate through again. If you've enjoyed this video, you enjoy me going out there, getting some quick shots with my drone, make sure you go down below, hit the like button, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and leave any questions and comments you have down below. Thank you. Thanks for watching, and make sure you hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video. Also, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next videos I will be posting, and leave your questions, comments, and suggestions below. As always, I just want to give a massive thanks to the people who support me on Patreon. Never underestimate the value of your contribution to keeping this channel going. Thank you.